Welcome back to Your Tribe. This is part 3 of our discussion focused on ownership and accountability. We started this discussion focused on the impact we have when we take ownership of our accountability and how we choose to show up in the episode titled Ownership and Accountability. In part 2 of the series, Assumptions, Limiting Beliefs, and Labels, we discussed mental and emotional crutches and how they influence our behavior. As we round out this topic of ownership and accountability, in this episode, we discuss how to let go of limiting beliefs and begin to create new patterns and behaviors to create the future we envision.
So now let's look at that in a full team leadership position. When you come in as head of a team and say you're new to a team and you happen to be a woman in an all male dominated team, right? And you're one of your responsibilities in your description of the job that you have taken is to put in some new SOPs. That's change some of the things that have been organized. And some of the people on the team might say, we've always done it that way, so we're always going to do it that way, right? Because change is hard. Well, that, when you come in and that's your responsibility and people are reluctant to it, I say go way back, the asking the questions and giving people ownership. But even go way back a step earlier is if people are reluctant to follow you, when people are reluctant to do something that you said to them or about them or amongst them, and they're absolutely reluctant, that is a immediate feedback that there is no rapport. And without rapport, nothing changes. And sometimes we have to interrupt the behavior, interrupt what Amy said earlier, that pattern of behavior, interrupt it, clean the slate, so we can then build upon that. And that, I think, is the hardest, especially as women. Because we're afraid of, and this is not just a woman thing, but as humans, we're afraid of being rejected. We're afraid of failing. We're afraid of not doing the right thing. Some humans more than others, but I don't think it's a gender thing. But then what can you do? And sometimes, being vulnerable and saying, you know what? I'm here to do X, Y, Z. I'm not going to do it by myself because this is not a me job. This is an us job. So how can we do it? How can we lock arms and make this company a better company?
Makes me think of a couple of things, Brigitte. I think it was something I saw recently on LinkedIn, and take gender out of it. And it had to do with this leader going into an organization, similar to what you just talked about here. And there being a lot of, I think it was a much larger organization, but there being a lot of negativity being received from this leader's position. And the one thing I remember on the post was keep asking the uncomfortable questions. So keep doing what you're doing. That was the first thing. And another thing that what you said made me think about is if you see people's pattern of behavior changing in a negative way. So for instance, you're doing your job, you're going to know you're doing it well if other people on the team are all of a sudden changing their form of behavior or pattern of behavior, not necessarily in a positive way, but it can also be a sign of change if it's negative. So for example, if there are other people on the team that are receptive to the leader and the change that the leader is bringing in, the other people that aren't as receptive might start having negative behavior about that particular person or those people that are embracing change. So I want to say that out loud and validate that, because it does happen in work and at home. And another great thing my therapist had told me years ago was, as you continue to get more healthy on your journey, emotionally and whatever else, you're going to start to see other unhealthy relationships fall away. So they may come at you at conflict at first, but as you're getting healthy, you're able to set those boundaries and let them know what you're willing to accept or not accept. So the same thing happens in the workplace, that you continue as a leader to do what you were hired to do and build your confidence in continuing to do it. You're going to see the same kind of relationships come at play. The positive ones will come forth, accept the change, want the help, want to make themselves and the organization better. but then you are going to have personalities that aren't as healthy or as willing, that are going to perceive the change as threat, or the threat is change, and they will initially create conflict about it. Hopefully, you work the environment, that the leaders that have brought them in, hopefully it's just a temporary thing, but it may not, and it may affect them then making their own type of change, whether it's working to embrace what's going on in the current organization, or perhaps maybe finding a place someplace else.
So you're saying that time's on your side. Eventually, the ones that need to be weeded out will weed themselves out.
Yes, I think that is correct. Yes. So to wrap this conversation up today, I want to leave you with the analogy that we talked about a little bit ago with the rubber ball. I want to encourage all of us, and I should back it up. I always like to leave any of my talking or facilitation or training sessions with, what one thing are you going to do to be better today? And usually it's a small step that we want to take just to start on that journey. So I'm going to encourage us all to go back to that rubber ball analogy and remember that all of us have this rubber ball made up of rubber bands of bad behavior that have been with us through time, from childhood through, our early adulthood on towards to where we are today. And it's just patterns of behavior that we've grown used to. As we continue to get healthy on our journeys, we want to start creating this new rubber ball of new habits and better habits. And hopefully what we do, and I encourage you to start doing this, and it's one small step at a time. It's finding that confidence to have the conversation, or stopping a pattern of behavior, or whatever it is, but start a new pattern of behavior and start building that other rubber ball, so that what you can do is build this bigger, better, stronger rubber ball of rubber bands over here. And then you can take the other one, and as I like to say, put it in my dog's toy box for my dog to play with going forward, so that you can have that ball of bad behaviors and go out in the yard and play with it. So I hope that helps you all today. I hope that our conversation has been inspiring in some way. And like we said at the kickoff with this, we encourage you to join our tribe. If you have concerns, you have challenges, or something that's on your heart, or something you want to share, message us, or come and join us for one of our discussions. We'd be happy to have you.
Thank you for spending a few minutes with your tribe. Your tribe provides different perspectives from our unique view of the world as pioneers, trailblazers, go-getters, professionals, leaders, friends, and so much more. Our discussions span from leadership, business, relationships, and personal growth, and everything in between. Do you have a topic you want to discuss with your tribe? Submit a topic by emailing Kendall Rawls at kendall@rawlsgroup.com. We will love your feedback and contribution. Your Tribe is produced by the Rawls Group Business Succession Planners.